We're trying to make some good television.
Hey, and we're trying to make some good podcasting. Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021, and we continue our coverage here of Big Brother Canada 9 here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. I'm Dave Mader, joined with Jaemeel Robinson to cover this season. How are you doing tonight, Jaemeel?
I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. This was some good television, as our friend Braden would say. I don't know if he's our friend, but he's our friend on the show. And yeah, that was some the backdoor plan came to fruition.
Yes.
Spicy V's on the block next to Tara. It happened. We kind of knew. We knew we knew the other night when we hit our spoiler section, but still, I was just
it was so touch and go. We were like leading up to it. You do not know how many times it went back and forth as to, are we going to do the plan? Are we not going to do the plan? Are we going to do the plan? So it was like, even when the veto happened, they were announced that they were going to do the ceremony like shortly, like the same day, and then they delayed it an extra day. And
oh, really?
Like, oh no, this is like Victoria. You could see the work that Victoria was putting in prior to the ceremony. For someone who did not know, she was like really kind of subtly putting in some work in there and kind of, ease some folks' fears. But like, let's get into it. Let's get into the breakdown for this episode.
Yeah,
backdooring is like heartless.
It's heartless.
Which she said that she was going to do to Ro the following week if she was HOH. So I'm like, so is it heartless or like what
Just
exactly?
Only if it's against you.
Yeah.
Only if you're the one being backdoored.
Yes.
Right? It's I think heartless is the wrong word. Maybe like disappointing or sort of discouraging, or these would be more appropriate. But I also think our MVP tonight, if it's not Rohan, it's got to be either Braden or maybe Beth herself. So, but how much credit can we give to Beth for this plan and how this all played out tonight?
Well, Beth had made the final decision, but even in this episode, she just seems so wishy-washy about this plan. You can at least say with Victoria, when she kind of has her mind set on something, she's just like, she'll talk herself into being a badass, right? Or in her own mind, right? Being a badass about when she does it. Like Beth, was like a wreck. It was like a wreck, right? She kept going back and forth, and although I do appreciate her standing up to Ted and Jed and Ty, man.
Hey, let's call them Ted, because they could just be one person, like she clearly wants them to be.
Yeah, her arguments presented in that argument, saying Ro's best for you and Victoria's best for me, was great. It was great to see someone actually like voice a different opinion to the trio, and it kind of felt like, yes, like there's an individual game coming, and rather than just the three of them, conjoined to the end.
Right. Because I guess my fear with Beth was, as a member of this trio, that she would fall into the Christmas Abbott role of, I don't want to win, I just want one of my boys to win, right? and I don't think that's true with Beth. I think Beth would like to win in her own right. However, if it's not her, she wants it to be Jedson, because that's clearly, maybe who she's showmancing it up with. He dropped the L-bomb tonight. He thinks he loves her. He's not. Hey, I think I love you. Not 100%. I'm going to go make some bacon and eggs and things.
Fool. He is a fool. They talked about this beforehand, about how it doesn't look like there's going to be a relationship outside the house. If he was going to say something like that, he should say it outside of the house when they had some time, right? Right? Maybe say that. Maybe as you're leaving the house to kind of bridge into a relationship outside the house. But like, I don't know, like saying it while in the house, I don't think that's ever a good idea. Because let's say it is truthful, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna automatically take him over Ty, right? But I also know that I have a free shot to take against him, and he'll still appreciate me after the end. if he's to
Right.
that extent, right? If it's just a game move, it's not really a good. It's not a good look. Not a good
I don't
look.
think it was a game move. I think that he was feeling the feels, if you will, for Beth, rightly or wrongly, probably wrongly. She's from northern Alberta, as far as I understand, and he's from Toronto, right? If I recall?
Ty is from Aurora, and
I'm talking about Jed. Sorry, I was talking about Jed.
But I'm trying to think. That's how I.
But Ty's from Montreal.
Ty's from Montreal, and then Jed is Aurora. Okay.
Aurora, Ontario is near Toronto, right?
Yes, it's north, I believe, or north,
like up there in like that King City area and stuff.
Northeast
of those parts. Richmond Hill. I don't know these areas.
Past
Richmond Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. But okay, but they live many thousands of kilometers apart. Not that that's an insurmountable barrier, but they're not from the same neck of the woods, at least right now. And so that comes with its own challenges. But I want to kind of just talk about this whole episode so we don't miss anything, because there was just quite a bit that happened tonight. I didn't really start taking notes until partway through, because we had all this recap and everything else. But once it was sort of the original nominations were through, and we had Tara and Rohan to start up this hour, we get this conversation with Tara, Kiefer, and Tina out in the OLG room. This is where these three like to meet. The old crew, Kiefer at the old age of like 28. He's so old.
Lakota. It's great for his bones.
Yeah,
he's that's just the only Lakota joke I'm gonna make, folks.
I was like, I can't. I'm not gonna pile on with that one, but I can appreciate it. So Kiefer. I have a lot of issues with Kiefer from this conversation. I don't think Tara's a great player either. Tina's the only one who seems to have her wits about her here on Big Brother. Tara snaps here. This was probably a long time coming at Kiefer about, why are you all loyal to Jed and Ty? And like, you've picked that side, or you're clearly close to them, but it's a mistake. They're going to cut you when it comes to it. And he reacts very poorly, I think.
Yes.
Anyway you cut it, he literally got upset with Tara, and he goes, you know what, Tara? And I don't know what his point was, but it was just
that's how great his point was.
Yeah, there was no substance to it. He was just angry that I think that she dropped some truth here. I think that is true. Like, they're loyal. They'll keep him till Final Four probably, but no further. Like, so maybe,
just that he's not a priority in the list. And the fact that he here's the thing, why he reacted is because he knows she was telling the truth. He felt deep down that this is an insecurity he has, and he's constantly trying to make it up to the boys or try to show that he's one of them. That's why he's always the first one to start hugging up and lifting people up and everything. He wants to be down, and the reality is he's always going to be the fifth person. He's always going to be, right? He's going to be the one on the outside looking in, if it's just the trio, or if it's the trio and Brayden, or the
Ghost Peppers,
right? And Victoria. There's always going to be people in front, and Kiefer has it in his mind that if he still puts in work, that they're gonna in the long run be loyal. And
it's loyal to the soil, loyal to the squad, Sunsetters for life.
He's locked in.
But time and time again, they keep proving that he's lower on the pecking order, right? And
just the way they treat him too, right?
True. And deep down, he realizes it. He notices it, and that's why when Tara's words hit him, it struck a nerve, and he had to lash out that way.
Yeah, I like it, and it's also this conversation also reminded me how much Kiefer is just obsessed with hating Rohan, and has been for a long time. The whole thing in the pantry with Kyle, it feels like a long time ago to me. Like, I'm sure it's more fresh for Kiefer, who just has nothing to do but live there with Rohan 24/7. But I'm like, I never really got it, like why he was so much angry with Rohan back then than he was with Kyle, but because Kyle's more of a boy, I guess. I don't know what the heck how to categorize that. But for whatever reason, he made up more nicely with Kyle, but he never really did with Rohan.
I figure it's because Rohan tries to be friends sometimes with folks, and that could be like, I don't trust him because he has that like, hey man, I apologize. We're good though, right? And he's like, no, we're not good, right? And I don't feel like it's sincere. Whereas Kyle was like, well, okay, I admit that there was some issues with what we were saying, and there was issue with you what you're saying, and Kyle just basically was very strong-willed about his opinions about the pantry situation, whereas Ro just kind of rolled over and just begged for his stomach to get scratched. But in the long run, it's Ro scratching Kiefer's belly, it seems, because like he's looking for that. It's not even that looking for affection. He's looking for that reaction. He is motivated and put his focus on hating Ro, regardless of how beneficial it could be if he like joins up with him or weaponizes him.
Right. So I think just both these points, how he reacted to talking about the Sunsetters with Tara, how he's talking. I get that Rohan's a big target for a lot of people, and that some of this is natural, but I think that his obsession is unhealthy in terms even and if I was going to be Kiefer's advocate, I would say this is you're making some poor choices here. Whether you like Rohan or not, whether you want to be boys with him after this game is kind of beside the point. Does he serve your needs right now? Maybe, right? So you just have to be open to it, right? No matter who it is. Once Kiefer storms off, we get a confession with Tina where she's like, I was in this Sunsetter. I've been kind of working with Kiefer for a while, but we're starting to get to this point where our interests are not aligned anymore. Right. And so we could see some confrontation maybe down the road there. That's interesting. The two captains, the Defender and the Destiny captain, outside we had Brayden and Rohan talking. Brayden then was with Beth, Ty, and Jed. Brayden's really gotten in good with Beth.
Yep.
Much to the chagrin of some of the boys in her alliance, including Jed, Ty, and even Kiefer. They're not too happy that Brayden has made himself more of a factor.
I think that is more on Kiefer's end, because Kiefer does see that his stock is dwindling due to Brayden's stock rising. At the same time, Candy, gotta avoid it. Gotta avoid the sweets. And Brayden is so sweet to the boys, and they're flocking to him. You're wondering where I was going with this. It's like Candy. Yes. Specifically Ty. He seems to be snuggling up to the Candy. But they still have not shown it yet.
Yeah, this has not made the show. Why do you think it's not making the show?
I don't know, and we're gonna be talking about production later on in this episode.
Right, and if you don't know what we're talking about, it's that Brayden and Ty have been known to be cuddle buddies, and there might be more to it.
Yes,
right. Well, I don't have all the facts, but
at the same time, Ty has also been cuddle buddies with Victoria as well.
Okay, well, hey, Ty is not discriminatory. He will cuddle with everybody and anybody, it seems.
Yes, that's true.
Including now that Beth has her cuddle stock has gone mostly to Jed. He's lonely. Ty's got to get out there. He's French. He lives in Quebec. I don't know if he's French, but he's got a kiss, a hug, all those things. I'm just right. But it was in the scene that Beth was kind of like throwing out this idea, like Victoria might be my back door, and so like. The seeds of this are planted. But we also have we had Beth and Victoria talking more individually, and this Ghost Pepper alliance. I can't remember if this was mentioned before. I feel like it was at some point, maybe, but it felt like a bit of a thing that came out of nowhere, because Beth's like, well, I actually am in an alliance with Victoria called the Ghost Peppers, but there are so many alliances, like
like the pre-90s,
and
was it Real Spice as well?
We're Real Spice, man.
Or what was it? The Ty and Jetson one?
The Undercover Brothers.
Undercover Brothers. Yes. As you can see, tons of terrible alliance names. So unless it gets mentioned repeatedly like Ghost Peppers were, then not really gonna be.
So
sure.
it got a lot of mentions tonight. Oddballs. It was also we heard about them again. The Oddball, like Victoria. The Oddballs are still going. We're like, okay, Victoria, whatever you say.
She's happy she named them.
Yeah, she named them.
Yep.
But Victoria was pushing for both members of TNT, being Tara was already there, and Tina to be the back door, which is kind of like what everyone's going to say it's going to be for the whole episode. And then she had this confessional, Victoria, who she says, "Who would have thought that I would be working with Beth? Not Beth." And she also reminded us how good she is at the game. Hold on.
I knew you got that clip.
I didn't get that one, but it's very much like her old clip where she just says,
I am so good at this game.
huh. She said basically the same thing again. Like, I am so good at this game, and the most modest Victoria as well. We also, so just interesting there. Victoria. We got to talk more about Victoria, but I think we might get a chance tomorrow in her eulogy. I would predict at this point, but we'll see. We'll see how the vote lands tomorrow in the first part of the double eviction. But we also had a Beth and Jed showmance. We kind of talked about their relationship a bit at the top, but they woke up in bed and they were very smitten.
And if you were anyone in that house, and you came through that door and you saw them like snuggling the way they are, wouldn't you be like we got to do something about this?
Well, yeah, I not just now. I would think it's been a long time coming.
But it's like a constant reminder. It is a constant reminder.
Yeah.
It just tells you that if it becomes between you and them, they're gonna choose each other and not you.
Right. No, absolutely. That they're very tight. Yeah, no, it would be high up on my list, but you have to be careful about who you say that to, right? Especially with Jedson, because he hears anybody secondhand saying his name, he's going to get all like aggro about it. But is there little romance winning you over? Do you think they're a good showmance for just the show?
Not really, because there's not enough drama. Like if there was drama and like between the two of them, they're like a stable relationship more or less on Big Brother, where it's like they're working together, they're able to hear each other and kind of relate to each other, and they're able to perform at a high level.
Yeah, they kiss in the rain.
It's not a little rain kiss. Never heard anybody.
Cutest man in the world.
Cutest man in the world.
Lord. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I did, but I had to.
No. You're right, but I lost my train of thought. The ultimate thing is, that they're pretty stable as a relationship. It's kind of sweet, but at the same time, you're like, I'd rather more gameplay, sensical gameplay, mind you. And this was an episode I wish I got more. Right, more as opposed to we're showcasing that they're hooking up, and we're showing extended scenes of the challenge, and you want a nice barbecue grill,
a Weber barbecue grill,
but if you also win the game, you also get like the gift certificate.
You also get the Weber stuff.
It's the Weber stuff, not a gift certificate, right?
Yeah, you win like is it like 10,000? Hold on, I have it as a clip. We can figure out exactly what it is.
Big Brother Canada house guests are competing for a $100,000 cash prize, $10,000 worth of grills and grilling accessories, courtesy of Weber.
10,000. Okay.
$10,000 cash, powered by Sunlight, and an unforgettable dream vacation for two from Expedia.
Okay, so So it's the $10,000 of Weber stuff plus another $10,000 of cash on top of the $100,000. So it's actually $110,000 cash plus a trip.
Yeah.
So pretty nice prize. I think if you added all that up, like it's because when you think about like the U.S. prize, which is like this $500,000 prize, but you have to give like what half of that back in taxes in the States.
Taxes for game show winnings is crazy.
Yeah, but in Canada, you would get to take that all home. There wouldn't be any tax or penalty on that. So, like that almost feels like it's not quite the halfway to that $500,000 prize in the States, but it's close. It's got some value to it for sure. So hey, good on Canada.
That's the great thing about the laws. It kind of sets you up when people complain, oh, it's only $100,000. It's like you're taking all that home. And the prize pool for when you win, I've always appreciated as opposed to the rampant product placement throughout the episode. Doing the having like the Weber, the trip, all these things are like they're tax free, so you're getting some awesome stuff. You're gonna end up getting ahead. I tell people, I'm like, the Canadian one prize pool is a lot better than the American one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Any kind of sweepstakes or contests or anything like that, Canadian side, and one of the things we do well, like which I always thought was weird about the States. Like I get like if I win like $1 million in the States and I have to pay taxes, okay, but it's wicked when you win like something like a car and then they're like, well, you have to pay the taxes. Well, now I got to pay out of pocket to win this thing.
The Oprah thing, the Oprah situation.
Right, the Oprah situation. We're not here to debate contest and prize law, but it seems like the Americans have it a little weird. But speaking of prizes, we had the have not vote. And since we had peeked on Twitter to see what those results are, this was no shocker that Rohan won this vote. As we had reported the other night, Rohan had almost half the vote of all the have nots with who was the next in the group. I'm trying to remember who the other Tina and Tara were way down. And
in terms of who was competing.
Like who was ineligible? I'm trying to remember who the four have-nots were. It's Tina, Tara, Rohan, and
Tina, Tara, Rohan, and Tina, Tara. It was the other side of the house. Tina, Tara, and not Victoria. It's
Braden.
Yes,
it's Braden, right? So those were the only four. Braden had the second most amount of votes, but Tina and Tara way down. No one wanted to make them not a have-not.
Nope.
So. They're even if you added Braden, Tina, and Tara together, it was less than Rohan. Rohan's become a very popular character on this show, or at least with the Twitter audience.
But I also think that's because he's the only valid opposition to the trio. So
right, because all the others are like, well, we're not against you, you know.
But also they're in they have not shown any type of aptitude in winning competitions.
Right. Like there's nothing to cheer for.
Control. Yeah.
The only thing there was
and also the gameplay is like, oh, we're going to do nothing and have people come talk to us. And, balloons are going to be sucked out of air or going to just flop on the ground, flopping.
Yeah. Yeah, like Braden has the best thing that ever happened to him was Austin getting evicted because he has become this player all of a sudden. At least he's this week we've seen in both episodes this week he's been way more active. He's been especially in Beth's ear, but I think that this whole Victoria going up on the block is largely can be attributed to Braden sort of having a second wind here, or even his first wind if he ever had one to begin with, because the way he was we never got to see him much on the show when Austin was here. Austin was always the mouthpiece. She was always the front person for the duo when they were even active, which often they weren't. So that was interesting. But also this whole have not thing with Rohan, he's sitting there eating his meal, right? and then Kiefer's sitting across from him, just hating him. And I'm and so this coming back to my earlier comment of Kiefer's got his rage at Rohan is a bit irrational.
Yes. There was also, it's not shown on the show, but Kiefer and Ro were playing chess, not saying a word, not talking game, nothing. and then Ro eventually beats him, and beat him pretty handily. They're like, okay, they leave. Kiefer goes to the boys. He's like, I hate this dude so much. Yeah, like, oh my gosh, like he just has it in his head that he's his enemy and is just like locked in. If everyone was like on the show was like a different movie villain, Kiefer would be Jaws, because he just seems to like he's obsessed with that boat. He's just circling around.
Right. Rohan is his white whale to his Moby Dick.
His Moby Dick, yes.
Yeah.
He just seems obsessed with it. Like, I understand the importance of getting out Ro as an obstacle, but like your arguments should at least be rational, right?
Yeah, but they're not. And so this makes me respect Rohan more as a player. It makes me not respect Kiefer as much as a player. I think Kiefer I think his mission in this game, I'm sure you'd like to win and everything, but he wants to be one of the boys. He wants to be popular with these guys, and that seems to matter to him more. And Rohan is like, I think it's like Rohan's like a nerd to him that he can pick on or something, like, or make himself feel better about himself. But I'm on the Ro show, baby. I'm not with this Kiefer business.
Show.
Yeah, well, fuck, I gotta play it now.
It's the Ro show, baby. He need the woo after that too. You can't help but not cheer for Ro to do more, to stay in the game, to find his footing. Kiefer has squandered a lot of the goodwill that happened earlier on the season, and I felt he's never really been able to get it back. Like, the only group that will have him like consistently make space for him is
The trio.
The
trio?
No, not even that. I mean, like, the trio is set, right? Ro's not going to hook up with him, even though, I don't know, maybe Ro can, team up with him to do some work. But that's if they mutually get over their issues. More Kiefer than anything. More Kiefer. It doesn't seem. I've seen nothing that indicates that Rohan is the one perpetuating this feud between them. Ro seemingly doesn't care what I get from it. Yeah, he's sort of like, okay, man, whatever. Like, and okay, yeah. You don't want to be friends or whatever, but you want to sit here and watch me skip the dishes. Very well. If that, or we'll play chess in silence. Like, I got to give Rohan credit for his patience with this whole situation. Because I feel like Kiefer would love nothing but a confrontation. But now that Kyle's not here anymore, I don't think he's gonna get it. Like, that was more Kyle's move to come at Kiefer, right? I don't think it's Rohan's move. He's more of like the sidekick to whoever's going to do that. Yeah. So, okay. So Beth, there's just more of this. Beth was wary of putting up Kiefer, was wary of Kiefer. Did she say that tonight? That Beth was wary of Kiefer, or that she's not as in with Kiefer anymore? Yeah. Did I imagine that? She did mention it. Yeah, that she didn't feel as close to him anymore. She feels even closer to Brayden now. Good on Brayden, man. Good job. He pulled a Joe Biden. Speaking of which, Beth picked Brayden out randomly in the when they picked the players for the veto. She picked Brayden out, which I thought was interesting. Ro picked Tina, and Tara picked Tashawn. So Tina and Beth talk after this. They were kind of like, and Tina's like, well, if I win, I have to use it to take down Tara. You know that, right? Yep. Take just like, so I don't know. I don't know how well this was received by Beth. I couldn't quite tell, but they go pretty much straight into that POV, and it's the backyard barbecue sponsored by Weber. Vic was dressed as a big kernel of corn. Did you not find this kind of corny? It was corny. She was popping, man. She was popping. There was a lot of corn puns coming out here tonight. Corny was very corny, I thought. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so this whole challenge was about, you had to take like these foam
props, which was like corn, pineapple, and sausages, or they called them weenies. And it was like you had to like get them out to this thing, and then you had to like ring toss them, and eventually you had to flip them onto the barbecue in the order that they were to start with your big massive spatula. Which
it's not the order necessarily; is you have to get all of them on and then arrange them.
And then arrange them. Right.
Yeah.
They didn't have to land in order. They just had to land onto the grill and not bounce off, which they figured out as they were going that the higher they went, the less bounce there was. That seems counterintuitive to me.
Yeah.
I'm not a physicist, Jaemeel, but I was surprised by this whole thing. But Rohan, we know Rohan wins this tonight, but Tashawn.
3 times.
Yeah, 3 in a row, and it's hey, it's now we need it again. I play this Rose Show clip a lot, but I can never find it.
Because we exult when he eventually does something worthwhile mentioning.
I need to find a faster way of finding it.
It's the Rose Show, baby! I want to give a shout out to my parents for creating this absolute champion.
Mm-hmm. But Kiefer was like pissed at Tashawn because not only was Tashawn not second place, he was a distant third or maybe fourth in this.
He was awful at this one. This is deceptively a harder challenge than it is, and it is a physical one because the flipping, because of how big it is and how heavy the items are and how high you have to put it so that it lands on the grill properly, a lot of force is involved, a lot more than initially conveyed, right? And because initially when you're watching it, you're hearing the thing, it's like, oh, that looks easy. You just kind of shoot it and it'll get on top of the grill. But it was a lot tougher, and you saw a lot of the women were challenged by this whole, event.
Well, only Tina and Tara were the only women competing.
Yes, but they both were struggling, especially the spatula part.
Especially, I saw Tara felt completely out of her element here. Okay, but Tashawn, okay, like he's been considered this physical threat. He's won nothing. He's won less than Jedson, who's won pretty much nothing.
He's won the same amount of you as you.
As
You're
me,
not playing.
But I'm not playing. Yeah, I'm not in there. Like I feel like I would have won accidentally by now before Tashawn has, and that's fine. I don't think you have to win competitions, but I feel like if you're that archetype like a Tashawn or a Jedson who's like, I'm the muscly big aggro dude. Nobody's gonna dare put me up because I might put them up because I'm likely to win a competition, more likely than you. Bullshit. It's complete nonsense. Like Tashawn is no more likely to win this than Braden or Rohan, clearly. Despite the fact that he's a basketball player, despite the fact that would presumably have higher cardio and stamina and would also be good at like lifting things up in the air and kind of judging things falling. I think that's how basketball works, right? Like that you pick the ball, you throw it up in the air and then it comes down, goes in the hoop.
Yes.
It's not exactly like landing a foam pineapple onto a grill, but it's not that far.
There's like a perception that you'll be able to translate what you are throwing into a hole, whether it be a 10-inch hole or a 15-inch hole, right? Yeah. It was just disappointing, very disappointing.
Well, no one was more disappointed than Kiefer because his arch nemesis Rohan wins this challenge.
It's like I have to hear the Rose Show again. Yeah,
I have to see him woo again. He already won. He already took himself off slop, right? And in the conversations that follow this they're like, we can never put Rohan up to give himself a chance to pull himself down. He's won 3 vetoes in a row. So if Rohan better win this next HOH, but he is looking seriously at a back door, almost from. It could be from anybody, maybe not Tina, I guess, or something like that. True. But he's got a higher chance of getting backdoored next week than not. After this, so we head up to the HOH. Beth is like, "Oh my god, now I have a chance to do it, but am I too scared? I don't know." Braden comes up pretty soon after that. He says, "Don't tell Victoria we're doing this.
Yes,
just lie the whole week. Don't give her a chance to talk herself out of it." Jed shows up and he kind of joins in on this, and he seems like he's kind of down, or he's at least entertaining this at this point. And there's like, but Victoria's gonna walk in any second.
Yes.
So just get ready. And then she walks in and she's like, yeah, we're totally putting up Tina. Oh yeah. And
it still makes no sense. I don't know why she thought that was the case.
To put up Tina next, it seems kind of logical to put up Tina next to Tara. Like, you know, if you're Victoria, you would believe it, I would think, right?
Yeah.
But maybe not. Like, she's so good at this game. She's like one of the best players in like the history of the game, you know?
She's got a crow.
I am so good at this game.
I'm so good at this game.
Vic, you literally could go down as one of the greatest Big Brother players in history.
You heard it right from the Keef it real man. He wouldn't tell you anything that's not keeping it real.
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous.
Okay, that came my favorite scene of the episode tonight, which is where I pulled 4 clips from this, where it was Brayden and Rohan talking outside with Victoria. This is before it's come, right? And they're like, she's like, you would tell me, right? He's like, oh yeah. What does he say?
No, of course, girl. I'll definitely let you know if anyone is going to backdoor you this week.
Backdooring is like heartless.
Lies, lies, lies.
And
we're trying to make some good television.
So much. Okay, I was loving Brayden throughout this entire thing. I love when people are able to like convince people of this kind of stuff. Like they were effective. I don't know how much Rohan was in on this or not. I guess, you know, I think Brayden's telling him things, so I guess he kind of knew this might be coming.
Like, practically the entire house knew about it minus Victoria. So when Beth was having second thoughts about it, there was a point of no return, because it was like, if we turn around and say no, we're not going to do it, the house is going to be pissed off because they're expecting a certain situation to occur, and now they have to change their strategy since they're kind of aware of this plan, because obviously everyone's having conversations with Victoria prior to this ceremony, so they're saying stuff and it'll make them look stupid when it's revealed that everyone knew.
Well, yeah, and I
know that news is going to come.
Yeah, and also knowing that, okay, let's say you backpedal and you abort this plan if you're Beth, right? If I was like in the house and I would say, well, like, okay, great, you didn't go after Victoria. This information is eventually going to come out. Victoria's got to find out that she was a backdoor consideration, and who was in on it? Everybody. And she might choose to direct that anger at me. She might choose to direct that at any player, not necessarily just Beth or Jed or Ty, right? Probably, actually, she's more likely to direct it at somebody who doesn't deserve it, like Rohan. So you're right that the house was kind of like probably locked in at some point. Good on them for being able to do it. And I think that Jed and Ty and them, they also have to think about the end game, like what's going to get them votes in the end. Right. And, you know, taking out Tara here, getting Tara out of the house, like versus getting out Victoria at this stage, maybe the best move.
Maybe.
Jed was talking to Ty in the tub up in the HOH room. Ty was wearing some pants, right? When he was in the tub.
I assume so. So. We have to assume.
Okay, just checking. There wasn't a lot of bubble bath on top, but it would have been better if it was. I just thought this was a weird for these two to have this conversation, but I did like this conversation where they're like, "Yeah, you remember when Victoria did us dirty, and what she did to LT, to Latoya?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is what I've been telling you guys all along. This is what Beth's been trying to kind of tell you all along, but you guys have forgotten about it because it was all the way back in week 2. We're only in week 6 here, but." They're starting to come around to kind of this plan and talking themselves into it, and realizing that, you know, it's not the worst plan in the world. And we also had
it takes a major player off the field, and for these people that have not won HOH, that increases your odds of winning HOH. So why not?
Right. But now that they know that they can't get Rohan out this week, they're just like, okay, we can't get Rohan out, which is definitely our objective here. So what's the next best thing? Is it getting Brayden out? Probably not. Is it getting Tina out?
Do you want to tie your HOH to that?
And it's definitely not Tara. So it's I just think that all these things are weighing on them. Plus, it's Beth ultimately has control here, right? So they kind of they're warming up to it. Tara was talking with Victoria in the room, and then Tina came in. There's to your point that kind of the whole house knew about this on some level, or knew this could happen, and no one told her. And they're just like, oh, she's going to be blindsided by this. And we should talk about the Victoria reaction as well, but to the final ceremony. Then we had Ty and Vic in the HOH where he was like, oh yeah, it's totally Tina, Vic. Totally Tina.
I know it's contradictory for us to say that, oh, everyone knew that Victoria was going to go up. And then you have a scene like this where it's like, oh, they're saying, oh, it's got to be Tina. Understand that even though you're presented with one piece of information on the television screen when you're watching it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not kind of manufacturing a scenario to present us, and some things are included and other things are taken away. So to all those people who are like, but Jaemeel said everyone knew, like stuff like this happens.
It does, for sure. I just thought I loved it when like Jed and Ty, like after Victoria leaves, they're like, man, this is dark what we're doing. Like that, because I think they're used to coming at people more like direct, and like this whole like the blind side, which I love a good blind side. This was what made this episode good tonight, but it's like they don't really have the stomach for it. It's almost like what you see more commonly in a lot of these reality shows now is more what Kiefer is doing with Rohan, where I have to like build up my adversary, in this case Rohan for Kiefer, to this point where he's like a villain, like the worst possible person, and I'm going to tell him as much so that when I come for him or when I vote against him, I'm going to be able to feel better about myself. Is kind of what really my analysis of it is. Like I've seen it over. Even like you looked at a player like Derek Levasseur, right? When he was mad, when Donnie was in his way and Donnie was an obstacle for him, he got vicious at times. Like he would be around the room saying, Donnie's the worst person in the world, And so I think this can almost happen to any player if you allow it to, right? It's not too hard to get into this kind of way of thinking. But they were just like, they kept, she's like, she'll never go against the ghost peppers. You don't really know that. And she'll never do me dirty. This do me dirty is a very common phrase in this house. It's almost as useful as sus.
That's a little sus.
Sus.
Or things of that nature. It's one of the key buzzwords.
Yep.
And then Vic with talking to Beth and Brayden outside. This is where Beth was starting to have second thoughts after this conversation. But I was like, Vic, you're so like obvi about this whole thing. You're just so, oh, I'm totally got you, girl, and I love you. And like she must, like to your point, she must have known. She must have had some kind of uncertainty, or she was spooked on some level, right?
Bananas.
She was bananas. Like, or was it spaghetti? Like,
it's bananas in this case. Bananas is the code word.
Oh, okay. The bananas was the code word.
Yes.
This whole place is bananas.
Yep. This whole place is spaghetti.
Oh, spaghetti. Sorry. Okay. All right. And then we actually got the ceremony itself, where Beth. I didn't record the speech, but it was lies, manipulation, backstabbing.
More and more.
Lies.
It's about to get spicy, and she throws up spicy V. And she was just like, oh, what?
This pitch sucks.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right. Okay. So that's where we end the episode. I loved it. I love this result. I love this week. Beth, this was one of my favorite weeks so far, and I wasn't thinking that was going to be the case.
I was disappointed, just because I wanted more fireworks at that veto ceremony, and she kind of just took it, and because of bananas, and
what do you mean because of bananas? Explain what do you mean.
So bananas is code word for production, right? So she literally said, I think she was talking to Jed and Ty, maybe, and she was mentioning how production told her like some leading questions, and like, and that's how she knew. She was able to piece together that she was going up. Like, why are they asking me about why Victoria? Why is Beth treating me the way that she's treating me? Or like,
Okay, and I see what you're saying. Okay,
so that's why her reaction and kind of acceptance of it was kind of muted and not like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect time for me to call out Beth. I've been looking to do a call out battle to someone. Now I have, their attention. But like, no, they
so screw you, bananas. What are
yeah.
you doing? I mean, production. I don't need to use a code word. Like, I hate when the whole point is that they're supposed to be locked in a house. They're not supposed to know what's going on, and they're not supposed to see this stuff coming. And I'm sure production doesn't want her to know, but on the other hand, they want to make sure they have like testimonials, they have segments, they have things that they can edit in to sort of tell the story they want to tell.
Yes.
Big mistake, Big Brother Canada production. Never let somebody who's the target of a blindside know they're the target of a blindside. You don't even give any kind of hint, because it's just it doesn't make the good television that we need. We're trying to make it.
You're absolutely.
We're trying to make some good television.
You didn't help it make it there. Like, okay, but just on face value, this reaction for Victoria, I was disappointed in it because I want not just fireworks, but I want her to sort of be, I don't know, like fired up or willing to do something, or I don't know, like turn on that side, flip this vote around. Now, Tara also leaves here saying she said at the top of the hour she didn't want Spicy B to be the replacement because she didn't want to have to campaign against her, because it will be a smear campaign. She'll smear me. I was like, what?
Yep.
Is that what your concern is?
She'll do everything and anything that she can do to secure the victory.
And what will you do, Tara?
Nothing. She'll complain. She'll complain to Tina.
She'll be like, Beth did not wrap up that onion in the fridge again. She did.
It was either her or her children.
It was either her or her children. She can't tell. She better just make some damn muffins.
I should make some damn muffins.
That's all. That's her campaigning.
You're hitting it with the clips today. You're hitting it.
I'm fired up, man.
But that was it. I was like, really, no confrontation. No.
Well, she said she respects it. She was like, I respect these kinds of moves. This is great. I'm the best player in the game, so of course she would put me up. Like,
no.
This is where I would wish that Victoria could have been wearing a mood ring so I could really know what she was thinking and feeling here, because I don't think it was what she was telling me in this diary room session.
I'm just no.
Yeah, it was. It's too bad, but maybe we'll get more. I'm hoping we'll get more tomorrow.
Stay real, because things are about to get spicy.
Right? Things are about to get spicy.
Put some seasoning on that steak for tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, but there's nothing to do but to speculate about what's coming forward from here.
Yep.
So tomorrow's the double eviction. So we can get into spoilers and maybe what we kind of know about this vote. But I also kind of want to talk about what is maybe the second part of this double eviction, and like all the different possibilities. We know Beth can't be the HOH, but the others are all eligible. Who is it going to be? Who's the least likely? Who's the most likely? What are the different possibilities? I want to kind of try to speculate all that quickly. But if you're going to leave us here, just because we're going to be talking about maybe what tomorrow night might be, make sure to check out all of our other content, whether that be on Live Long and Podcast, where we talk about Star Trek 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Deep Space Nine, Wednesdays, original series. On Saturday, we're going to be doing Star Trek Radio Theater. Our next installment, we actually have Jaemeel. You're in for this one. You're playing Dr. Julian Bashir.
Yes.
As we're doing Arman Bashir.
A laugh.
What a laugh. And Jeff, my brother Jeff, will be playing Garrick. So check that out on Saturday night, April 10th at 9 p.m. over on Live Long and Podcast, whether that's Facebook or YouTube. Check all that out. And then also, We do trivial debates on a monthly show where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. The next episode hosted by my son Eamon, and we're going to have the whole Wednesday panel coming in. Jody Simpson. We got to have my dad Ted, and we're going to have Adam Woodward for this next one. So that's exciting. So check that out at the end of April. And here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, we've covered other shows like Big Brother and Survivor. This is Big Brother we're talking about, but Survivor and Marvel and Westworld and more to come. So check out all those things. But with no further ado, let's just talk about tomorrow night a little bit and throw up the warning, and let's get Ruafu. Oh, the great F. Murray Abramson. Okay,
Yes.
So I don't know why I need to even warn about spoilers here, but okay, like, is it Victoria? Is Victoria going?
It keeps looking at. She is playing really hard and doing a great job in terms of putting forth scenarios and examples as to why she can stay. And people are like, she is, right. But at the same time, this is Victoria we're talking about. So there's been a lot of heat that's been going Keith's way, and we can kind of see like the beginning of that narrative being presented on the show. Right, the Sunsetters also feel that Kiefer is kind of sketch because he keeps going back and forth, right? And from Kiefer's perspective, he is, trying to keep the Sunsetters together, being that like link between Linda, Tina, right, and the rest of the trio, right, and kind of working to kind of keep all that together. But at the same time, if Tina goes and talks directly with the trio, she can smooth things over a lot better than Kiefer doing it for her, right?
True.
So she's looked after her own relationship more or less, but Kiefer's still doing what he's doing. And like, once again, there's a separation between Kiefer's doing for other people, and Tina just went straight to the source and solved their problem. So Kiefer's the one who's moving around. Looking like he's moving around.
He looks like the flip-flopper, even though he's actually trying to keep his alliance together, basically.
Exactly.
Especially now that he might feel like, okay, I'm losing Victoria. Like, that was an ally for me. That was a piece for me. And now I'm losing.
The Sunsetters were seriously thinking about...
will Kiefer vote to keep Victoria?
Or
will he'll go with the flow?
Victoria is communicating with people just in case Kiefer doesn't vote for her. Vote to keep.
But what do you think Kiefer will do? Do you think he'll just go with whatever like the trio want?
Yes.
And the trio obviously want her out because they're taking the shot. They don't want this not to land.
They could get like an empty uniform and put some shoulder pads and.
Right, because like Tina's voting. Tina's going to vote to keep Tara.
Okay, yeah.
And
once again, you have. Jed and Ty who can vote, so that's 3, right? And then if the other side votes, right, so it's Ro, Brayden, and Tina. It's a 3-3 tied, and then
Beth breaks the tie.
Beth breaks the tie. So at the very least, Victoria could snaggle a vote that goes to Beth to do the final vote.
Yeah, but like it would have to be the ultimate Cinderella story here for Victoria to survive tomorrow's vote, in my opinion.
Well, that's why she's been working on Keith and to get him to come over, because that would be the 4th vote. The motion would pass, and then she would be safe.
Wait,
right?
Okay, she gets Kiefer, but who are the other votes to keep her?
For Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiefer. Right. So she has the 2 Sunsetters, right? 2 Sunsetters.
Does she?
Kiefer. Victoria?
Yeah. Why do you think that Ty and Jed will vote to keep her?
The boys, that's why they've been pressuring Beth all this time, because they want Victoria to stay. They do.
But you've already put her up. Like, it's too late for that. Like, it's too late to flip this, I think.
Okay. Everyone sees it. Everyone talks about it. The problem with the Sunsetters is not that they don't have power. It's that they have to look at every single scenario and talk it over, right? And like
they overthink things.
Oh, ridiculous! It's insane. They overthink things way too much.
Yeah, I think once you make this move, especially with the blindside nature of it, you got to vote her out. Are you out of your like? You would have, like it's not like there's a juicy target next to her that is just as good to get out. It's Tara.
Yeah.
It's like she's gonna make some muffins and she's gonna be passive aggressive about cleaning. Is this what your
Yes.
big worry is? Like this is who you need to be juror number one?
It just makes it makes Beth's HOH just seem like nothing.
If they keep Victoria, it is nothing.
Yes, if they eliminate Tara, it'd be like, wait, you wasted the HOH on that?
They know that though. Like, okay, like hey,
They know that, but like it's the difference between knowing and actually voting in that particular way.
right. Like power to Victoria if she can somehow save herself through some kind of an amazing campaign here. But if I were Beth, I'd be like, no friggin' way. No friggin' way. You're keeping her now after I did this. Like, you know, and if she wanted to turn up that heat on Jedson, I think the whole thing blows up.
Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Oh, I failed to mention another reason why people have been feeling sketchy about Kiefer is Victoria, hearing some of the things that people have been saying about her, says she wants to call a house meeting. And Kiefer's been like, no, we don't need to do that. Kiefer's been extra hyper aware negatively in terms of having a house meeting. He says he doesn't want all his information being spread out and everything like that. And one of the glimpses that people saw of the meeting was like Victoria shouting to Ro, Brayden, and Tara. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes all together. I'll probably have more information about it overall tomorrow. But you have a team meeting. You have all this information being leaked. All right, all this information being spilled, and they're checking the validity of them. Kiefer hasn't done any favors, but once again, he's not on the block. And Victoria's gameplay speaks for itself, which is she did a lot, but this, I don't know. I don't think she's long for it. She's done a lot.
I hope this tells you how important it is to keep my name out of your mouth.
I'm calling this house meeting, Kiefer, and no one can say my name. What are they saying about me?
Yes. Right.
Like,
and the guys didn't appreciate Kiefer not wanting to do a house meeting.
With Jed and Ty didn't?
They didn't appreciate it.
That they don't want a house meeting.
That
he doesn't want
Kiefer, because it looks like he's a little sus.
Meaning what? Like he doesn't want his information to get out?
Yes.
Well, why is he not allowed to not want that?
Because that does not inspire trust within the trio.
You mean it doesn't benefit them?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Like just so we're clear, like
Yeah.
because if it benefits them, they like this or that behavior, and if it doesn't, they don't like it.
Correct.
And they label it with these words like sus or like sketch or whatever the hell it's supposed to mean. But like it really means that like your goals don't align with mine, and therefore I'm going to direct negative feelings towards you in order, again, to make myself feel better about what I'm doing and how I'm behaving. Okay, so let's say Victoria does go, for instance, just hypothetically, like she might pull this off, and power to her if she does. But let's say, okay, like all these other possibilities to win HOH in this double eviction. What's sort of your best case scenario and what's your worst case scenario? Like,
best case scenario, Ro wins. Worst case scenario, Brayden wins.
That's a worst case scenario.
I'm trying to think of what worst case scenario is. Like, I guess Jedson maybe.
I think it's Jedson.
Yeah, worst case scenario.
I think Jedson.
So bland.
No, actually, no. My worst case scenario is Kiefer.
Really? No,
I do not want him to. I do not want this man to have power again.
To see if he's going to take a shot at the boys.
He wouldn't. He's going to go after Rohan. Like he'll put up Rohan twice. He'll be like, my nominees are Rohan and Rohan.
Put up Rohan twice. I love
Yeah,
it.
he like, and they're like, Rohan takes himself down. I pick Rohan as the replacement nominee. That's all he'll be able to do.
He's like, dude, I won the veto. I veto your veto. Get on the
Yeah, I won the super veto. Sorry. I'm keeping it real. I just think, I think so. Kiefer is my worst case scenario. Every time he's such like an egotistical maniac when he has power, the way he plays. I don't enjoy watching this guy. And so he's he's my worst case. I hope he goes in this double. And if it's not Kiefer, that's my best case scenario. Kiefer doesn't win. It's Rohan who wins, and he gets Kiefer out. But if not that, like if it's Ty or Jed, I think we'll see some combination of probably like Tina, Tara, or Braden go up. Maybe Rohan too, because they'll, but I don't think they'll want to take a direct shot at Rohan, just because he's pulled himself off the block 3 times. But what if it's like a Tina win or a Tara win? Or a Braden win.
If it's Tina and Tara, they're going after the boys.
Okay, and if Braden wins,
it might be Ro and Tara.
No, he can't put up Ro. He rose his bromance, his Rohan bromance.
I just don't feel like he's going to put up the guys, or he's going to put up one of the guys.
Well, put up Kiefer. Why can't Braden can put up Kiefer? What's the
Braden could, he could.
And the other one he could put up is probably. Well, that's where it starts getting complicated for Braden. Who does he put up next to Kiefer?
If you watch him Gone for sure, you can put up Beth.
Yeah, but he would lose a lot of collateral potentially with Beth and the rest of them.
Well, remember his collaterals with the dudes. He does not see long term with Beth.
Because I got a completely different impression from the episode. What I saw there was that Beth and Braden were tight, and Braden wasn't as close with the boys. But it sounds like you're saying it's actually not the case. It's actually the boys that have Braden under their thumb.
Who's snuggling with who is the question, right. I say so.
Right, or there become a new foursome, and Kiefer is out. Right, and
how you saw it during the episode, they're going in for a high five. Like,
those used to be Kiefer's high fives.
I'm like, what's going on? Where's this stranger? Like, our household eating at our table, right? That's what we were seeing there.
Like, who wants to use a double eviction to get Tara out?
Tara, you're too big of a threat. We
can't give you a week to get paid, Tara. Like nobody's gonna want to take a shot, or a Tina for that matter. I can't imagine that they're gonna want to take a shot at either of them in this double. So it's I think if it's the boys or Kiefer, like it's definitely Rohan is the primary target, or vice versa. If Ro wins, then I think they go up, or some combination, or Kiefer and Jedson maybe.
Yeah, it's possible.
Or Kiefer and Ty?
That's a possibility. It would guarantee that Kiefer goes home.
Right. Because I think I think that's who you put up next to Kiefer if you're Rohan, or if you're, let's say, could Braden put up Jedson and Kiefer and get away with it?
Possibly.
Because I feel like but if let's say you put up Tina or Tara next to a big target, are people going to be too tempted to get out the big target?
Well, the big targets are going to be either Ro, Ty, or Jedson,
or Kiefer.
Is he considered a big?
Well, he's won an HOH. He's held a fair amount of power, right? Like he's. I feel like when he got Austin out, that was like not that long ago.
True. I just okay. Let's concede and say that you're right. Okay, what's the next step?
I'm right about what? That
you're saying that Kiefer is a big target. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the next step? Do you think that if Kiefer is there with someone else, like with Tina or Tara, who's going home? You think?
Yeah, let's say it was Tina, hypothetically. Let's say it's Tina and Kiefer up. What would the House really vote to keep Kiefer over Tina?
For if it was Tina, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay, let's say it's Kiefer and Tara.
Oh, Tara's gone.
Tara's gone.
So gone. They
So
can't
gone.
stand her. They cannot stand
Only
her.
Tina likes her.
I think I look, everything's amplified because you're just seeing the same faces and it's not your choice for the situation. So like the annoying stuff in the comments that she makes are an issue. Are we going to experience that same type of situation you know on the block? Maybe like is it going to be like high tension? We don't know, but like I just feel that Tara is the ultimate, like you would have to think twice not to eliminate her. It's only if like Jed and Ty, if they're on the block against Tara, that people are gonna be like, but they're a really big threat. But Tara's really annoying though.
Yeah, we can be Tara free.
It's like we could like if it happened once, we could put them up on the block again. It's that type of mentality, just because like she's such a polarizing character, which is weird that in a season with such, you wouldn't think from the get-go that there would be such a harsh reaction to Julie and Josh and now Tara.
Yeah, I don't think these are any like objectionable people. Like not that strongly.
I think it's just amplified because you're in a high tension situation. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. And like they're just getting on each other's nerves at this point. Like I think with like, does anyone think that Tara can beat them in the end?
No.
Then why vote her out? Like just because she nags you about your laundry and your onion wrapping?
I think for the Sunsetters it's because of like we've made this loyalty decision and the guys feel that they can make a valid argument against the people they do pick, as opposed to no need to worry about it with Tara. Kiefer, I think, would feel that if he were to do certain things that people might pick Tara. Like, who knows? Tara could turn it around. We don't know. There could be a wall comp and she gets power and she handles her HOH very well and people respect her off of that and she gets rid of some good threats and, he joins,
What about between Tina and Tara? Who is more likely to win the game? Right
Tina.
Now? Tina, right?
Her
So
social game, people respect her and people like her, regardless of if they're against her. People still have they speak highly of her,
right? And so then my mind goes, okay, but if Tara wins this HOH and if Tara got out Jedson or something like that, can you imagine? Like, would her stock, the threat level perception, the whole thing could change around, right?
Yeah, it could.
Especially if it's like, let's say like the first two members of jury are Victoria and Jedson or something like that. Could like Tara, I didn't see her coming.
Does the question is in that instance that you're talking about, do Ty and Beth still remain as loyal as they are? To each other, to each other. If
Ty and Beth,
Victoria,
maybe not.
Yeah, Ty and Beth.
Right, because if you take Jedson out of the equation now, right, at this point where now Beth and Jedson have become more of a true showmance. They're less of a weird triangle than they used to be, at least in terms of romance. And then if Ty's in this game with Brayden, right, and will Beth and Ty stay loyal? It's hard to imagine.
It is. I don't know.
But maybe. So that's why this has been a fun season. I think that they like all of these players and the way that this board can go tomorrow. There are so many possibilities. That's a good thing. I think we should all be pleased with that.
Appreciate everything that's happened so far. I just let's make sure the bananas don't get too involved at this point.
Yes. No more bananas.
No more.
Depending on who gets voted out tomorrow, either you or I will be sad, Jaemeel, because
I think it's more likely me.
Yeah, because I have Tara in the draft and you have Victoria.
Yes, and she's my last character.
Yeah, she's your last person because you lost previously Julie, the first to Vic D. So yeah, that feels like a long time ago now. So yeah, it could be sayonara for you tomorrow. I could lose my first member if I lose Tara tomorrow. Hopefully not.
I'm kind of pulling for you not to win.
I've never won this thing. I've never won the draft. So anyway, we're gonna pull out on the spoiler warning and we're gonna put up the date. And we're going to close out for tonight as we're coming up at the hour and 10 minute. Jaemeel, it's been a pleasure talking about this episode tonight with you and all week.
It's been a very interesting episode. Yes, it's been a very interesting episode.
Yes. Happy early birthday to my mother. Will be her birthday tomorrow.
Mama Mader. Thank you.
The big 6-0 tomorrow.
Ooh.
But we can't celebrate because Ontario's in a lockdown. So
countdown to lockdown. We're in our own individual Big Brother houses.
Yes. My mom's just been there with my dad for a year, just in this house. Can't vote him out. So.
Who's gonna do the tiebreaker? There's no tiebreaker.
There's no tiebreaker. It's or it used to be. Yeah, they don't even have a dog to do that anymore. So it's but anyway, we'll be back tomorrow to cover this eviction, this double eviction. We hope you'll join us for it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and all those things because we love it. And until then, I flagged the quote. All right, ready? Here we go. Let's sign off, and we'll see you tomorrow night. And until then.
And remember,